Hey everyone, Rasa here, and this is actually a bright side of taking a break. There I could actually recharge, relax, and for this, able to watch through all of the Power Rangers, Ninja Steel, and Super Ninja Steel, and give my final thoughts about the series in general. To make this more simpler, I decided to split them up into different groups, but let's get on with this series. This is where my cynical part kicks in because the story is almost like Dino Charge in the same way. I mean, a MacGuffin crashes to Earth with the villains chasing after it. As an individual made changes to the MacGuffin, making it the way it is now, and many years later, the series has the villains trying to acquire the power source that the Rangers are using to become Rangers. The only few changes are that the Rangers are now high school students, and the villains, instead of being a bounty hunter, is a game show host. I was being cynical about it. The positive parts is the fact that it is unique that the villains aren't just going for taking over the world. It's more of like, I'm doing this to show everybody on TV that I'm a super strong person. That and the fact that the series does work well when it's episodically instead of just a whole big story structure. So that's one of the bright sides I'll have to admit. It does a better job when it's just focusing on one episode. But let's start focusing on the characters, because I got a lot to talk about. Okay, first up is Brody, and he's just a basic Red Ranger. Yeah, I made fun of Tyler in the last season, calling him Captain Tofu, but with Brody, there could have been a story with him. He was a prisoner all of his childhood, and yet as a teen, he's perfectly okay with no problems like with technology or how the world is nowadays. And I'm taking a guess his ninjutsu was a coping tool on the ship because we've seen him messing with Ripcon with it. We also seen and live and learn that he has a gadget that helps him with all of his stuff, and he has to learn to rely on his teammates. He is shown to be a good person at heart when he, in the episode Caught Red-Handed, that he stood his ground. And in the Ranger Ribbon, he was happy and excited to see his long-lost brother. But in Family Fusion, we also learned why, to him, family is important since all he had was his dad and brother. And when he saw the fake Aiden destroyed, it made him sad, but also at the same time gave him hope that his brother is out there somewhere, which only lasts until the end of the episode. And Galvan Axe Rises, we also see that he is a lot like his dad, who would rather destroy the Power Star than give it up to him. Also, as a bright side, it was nice enough that they show him teaching the other Rangers on how to be a ninja, and also teaching other people about how to be a ninja, as we've seen in tech support. Though I wish we had more about what his life was when he was a prisoner on the ship, or more bonding with Levi. I mean, those two are supposed to be brothers, and yet we can barely even tell they are brothers. Next up is Preston. I feel like he got the most character development because in the episodes Return of the Prison and Presto Changeo, we discovered that he loves doing magic and it's explained why. And yet somehow he's the only one who receives something from the Prism Star because reasons. Yeah, I know, in the Sentai, the Blue Ranger was a mage, so they have to make some reason for why Preston can do magic. But it makes no sense. The magic only appears for the plot demands it, because also in Presto Changeo, his magic doesn't work properly because he wasn't using it for the right reasons, even though entertaining people can still considered a good reason. So it's mostly just the plot demands it. In the Ranger Ribbon, we get a relationship with his father, which basically goes nowhere because once that episode's over, we completely forgot about it. His character is more of a jumping the gun, because in Abracadanger, he won't learn properly how to use magic, which comes back up and bites him in the butt. Same goes with Magical Misfire. Sorry, I had to remember that title. Also, he does jump the gun a lot because in episodes like Love Stings, he doesn't think properly, and he's a massive obsessive levels, also in Game Plan, where he's obsessed with a video game. Like I said, we get a lot about him, but at the same time, not much. I wish they would have found a way to fix that. Sara was a little bit more confusing because she was the tech whiz and the voice of reasoning to the team. She was also more of an overachiever as shown in Hack Attack and Need for Speed, as she's able to build a hoverboard, a machine that can turn anything gross into a delicious, nutritious cookie, hard light holograms, which she used in Hack Attack to do extracurricular activities so she can go to a good college, and yet with what she built is still not good enough. I really need to understand the world of Power Rangers. But it's also shown that she has a heart of gold, as in the royal rival. Gave away her cookie machine to a boy so he could do a business and earn money. And also, she's massive friends with Haley, as shown in Making Waves, where they act kind of like sisters, yet they don't want their parents to date each other. Kind of weird. Though, like I said, hers is so confusing because it feels like a lot of stuff, but at the same time, it just leads to questioning why. I wish they could at least distribute some of her technology into the next character. Haley, I feel like, was the weakest character of the group. What we know about her is small. She's a talented tennis player, as shown in Abercon Danger, her love for her dog Cody, and she likes to act, as shown in Attack of the Galactic Ninjas. In My Friend Redbot, she learned that Redbot has feelings, and most of the time it's more focusing on her relationship with Calvin, and the fact that she will jump the gun just like anyone else because she asks Calvin his honest opinion about her acting. We also get to see her and Sara bond a lot, as shown in Making Waves. Those two are trying to break up their parents. And I might as well talk about this because this is driving me up the wall. I just noticed that a lot of the Rangers have single parents. Brody and Levi only have a dad. Preston only has a father. Sara has her mom. We don't know anything about Calvin's. And Haley's parents, I think, are divorced because in Monkey Business, Calvin said that he got the cooking recipe from Haley's mom. And all we know is that her dad's dating Sara's mom, so I'm pretty sure they're divorced. But one of the things I wish they could have done was made Haley the voice of reasoning and just kept Sara being the tech whiz. Calvin's character, I also feel that he is weak because, yeah, he does spend time with Preston hanging out as friends, but most of the time he's always connected with Haley because, yeah, we know they're a couple, and we don't get much about his character mostly. We know he's a mechanic who was originally afraid of driving, as shown in Drive to Survive. He also respects other mechanics, as shown in Ace in the Race and Car Troubles. He also has troubles with school normally, to the point where he will drop out to pursue his dream of being a mechanic. He could have still kept his job and be part-time, but still. Sadly, his biggest flaw is shown in Monkey Business, that he is a forgetful person, and they decided to bring it back in the moment of truth for him and Haley's anniversary, and in Doom Signal because he forgot the props, which caused those two to break up for the time period. But at least he tries to cover his mistakes, which is more better than how most people are in that type of relationship. Sadly, he's like more of a forgetful Yellow Ranger. Next up is Levi, and he got more character when it got to Super, but in the first season, it just led to so many questions for what he was doing throughout his whole time. His dad is presumed dead, his brother kidnapped, and his idea is time to be a country singer who takes selfies with his cheeseburger cell phone. You gotta love Sentai at times. Why couldn't they just make him a rancher? It would have made as much sense. He would still have that cowboy hat theme for his ranger gear, and he could still like singing. They wouldn't need to make him a country singer. One of my questions is, when he got captured by Odious and had his memory stolen, the moment he got himself free, he did not once go, why can't I remember my real name, or why can't I remember my childhood? But lucky, as soon as he's got his memories back and he heard Brody singing, he was like, oh yeah, I'm his brother, and joined him with the singing as the style of a heartfelt reunion. Also, it's shown that he is positive on being a singer, as shown in Rockin' and Rollin'. He's actually friendly enough to his fans that he will stop and take selfies with them. And shown in Gold Rush that though he is a famous singer, he's friendly enough that he wants to hang out with Brody and even give him backstage passes to his friends. Or maybe that could just be parts of his memory still kicking in that wasn't stolen. Though they did kind of boot Levi out of the battles a lot due to the fact in early Sentai footage, Levi's Sentai counterpart was not in some of the battles. But the moment it got to the Super season, he was a lot of focused on a lot of episodes. In Love Hurts, he gets himself mind controlled by a monster disguised as a fan to change up his image, which he didn't like, but he loved her so much he kept going along with it. We see in Fan Frenzy his celebrity life coming back to bite him because a celebrity doing a normal life in high school, and yet not once we've seen fans going all crazy because a famous country singer is at their school. Thank you, Fan Frenzy, for coming back to bite him on that one, and it drove him up the wall. Also, for a person who sings his song, makes up his own songs, he does not remember the meaning to the songs because in Happy to Be Me, he forgot that one of his songs is to be happy for what he is. The only thing I liked about Happy to Be Me was the part where we had Brody and Levi having little bits of jabs with each other about being that since Levi was a small child, Brody's like, okay, that makes me the big brother now. Levi's character was interesting, but I wish they would have not made him a country singer. That was like the only problem that I actually had with that. We might as well start talking about the mentor character, and Mick is a good job of a mentor. He wasn't talking down to the Rangers, and he wasn't being all vague about the lesson that they should learn. He actually did some style of showing it in like some improv way for the Rangers to go, oh, I should have done this, or I should have noticed about that, which was a good job. Also, the fact that one of his most humorous moments, we'll have to say, is in Game Plan, where he basically covered Levi in paint and a wig, where Levi just went, wait a minute, couldn't you just shapeshift into this? That was still hilarious. Though I do want to know more about his past. It's something that's interesting. We know that he went to college, the Lion Galaxy sold him into slavery, which he has a massive hatred for them, which that's understandable about his character, but the moment the princess lets him talk to his family again, it's like, I am perfectly okay and normal again. Also, I wish that they would have shown more about his alien powers. I mean, he could shapeshift, and we could clearly forget that he could do shapeshifting. I think one of his most important parts of shapeshifting was during that Halloween episode where he disguised himself as the villain who did that to the Rangers. It's bad when I can only remember that part of that whole Halloween episode. One of the things I do wish they could have put on more is Brody's relationship with Mick, because he was on the ship with him throughout the whole time. Here's would have been an idea. You could just replace the Adventures with Redbot and have it the Adventures with Mick, where he's doing the whole thing that Redbot was doing. And for that moment, Brody could have just reassured him, saying that, remember you were there with me when I first got captured? That could have been like a moment of showing more about Brody's character with his relationship with Mick. That would have been a great idea. But besides that, Mick was a great character and one of the more highlights to the Ninja Steel season. The YouTuber Macrosatsu, sorry if I mispronounced your channel, he talks about Power Rangers, Sentai, and Kamen Rider, and he made a video which took the words right out of my mouth on Redbot.
Then what's the point of Red Boot?
Yes, I know Saban wanted an alpha-like character to make the Ninja Steel, but in all honesty, Mick could have been doing the same job that Redbot does, and nothing's wrong. In his episodes, my friend Redbot is nothing more than saying that Redbot has feelings, and in the Adventures of Redbot, it's nothing more than just saying, Redbot, you're part of this team also. I mean, you could literally have Mick do all of Redbot's roles, and nothing would change through the whole story. Tangent, yes, I know, the Zords is supposed to be based off of what the Rangers are associated with. Haley is her dog, Preston's his dragon costume and his pendant, Calvin is his truck. Even though his Zord is actually a dump truck, they couldn't just make Calvin's character more of a person who likes to build things. Sara is a hoverboard. I am not going to let that go. That is a bloody train. Levi is, because he likes westerns, is his Zord a dune buggy and a Zord. And Brody's has to be something that looks like Redbot. Here could have been an idea. Brody had a toy with him before he got kidnapped, or it's a toy that Mick gave to him when he was captured on the ship. That would have just made as much sense as anything to make a giant Robo-Red Zord. Forget the Ninja Nexus prison, the MacGuffin that only held the Power Stars and only showed its power when the story demands it. It just mostly sat in a corner, and when the Rangers need help, it just shown a picture basically screaming, "Hey ninjas, throw a ninja steel in me so I can give your power source faster than Gosei does." Ugh. And I mean, even when Odious tried to corrupt it or captured it, it just sat there doing nothing. It like it had a conscience or something, or just whatever the story demands it. It's annoying. Victor and Monte are basically Bulk and Skull to this series. Cannot give it up, can you, Saban? Victor is an egotistical person who is popular, but no one can put up with him, and a jock, even though he gets tired out a lot of stuff. And his goal is to acquire his 50th trophy. Why? I have no bloody clue, but he's not afraid to cheat or do underhanded tricks to get it. Monte is his right hand and henchman, who is the brains of the group, but for some weird reason, he's not that well in schoolwork, and his invention levels can get on to par with Sara if it didn't malfunction by Victor messing with it. Like I said, at least the bright side is that they have a main goal. They want Victor to acquire his 50th trophy, so that's something good. And funny enough, it took the Rangers to butter those two up to rescue the people who were captured on the ship, doing a good deed without a reward, for Victor to receive his 50th trophy. Okay, I'm just pausing for that moment to understand it. Most of the time, they were just doing some madcap stunt for the Bees story, for glory or trophy, with the Rangers just doing whatever they wanted to do. You could literally remove Victor and Monte from the series, and nothing would really change much to the series in general. And also, you really have to fix this whole comedic stuff, because it was getting onto the levels of cartoonish. I mean, Victor was launched into the air by a fan, and Monte had the fart power to blow a door off the hinges. I know Bulk and Skull were kind of the comedians of the group, and they did stuff, but it was on a realistic level. Unless you count the time Bulk and Skull got turned into chimpanzees. About all the good guy characters, I might as well move on to the villains. We might as well start off with Galvan Axe, the main villain for the first season. And he was generic, basically. His goal for the Power Stars was so he could rule the galaxy because he's a huge narcissist. That sums it up. He wasn't that much of a threat until Hack Attack, where we seen giant hard-like copies of him destroying the city. And it took Galvan Axe Rises for him to actually almost win if it wasn't for two problems. Brody destroying his ninja star, and Odious literally straight up saying, "I'm betraying you." But he was a decent villain for the first run, though he felt more like general levels. And it's kind of funny, since his Sentai counterpart, he's actually the main villain. Next up is Ripcon, and I felt like he was a wasted general. Whoever told his actor
to speak like this while he is doing the acting? When you picture somebody like that, you don't picture someone to speak like this.
What's wrong with Growly Monster voice? Anyway, his rivalry with Brody was supposed to exist, but the terms of a rivalry is they're getting strong at the same time, not one keep wanting up the other. Which, what was the point of that? That one joke when Galvan Axe was looking for the next contestant and he found one, and Ripcon said, "Wait a minute, that's my mother!" Which I found that kind of hilarious. And the fact that he was loyal to Galvan Axe to the very end, and his only flaw was because Odious is actually outsmarting all of them. So I wish they would have kept him a little longer, but yeah, I know Sentai footage only had a limited amount of him. They still could have did a better job. Cosmo Royale, the host of Galaxy Warriors, and all his job was is to show the monster of the week, show what they could do by him being the victim of the outcome, and to ask the audience if they want a giant monster or a giant Skulligator. For him, he didn't care about which side he worked for as long as he's still doing his show, and the one time he actually does play a villain in Grave Robber, he was still just hosting it in a way. and he complained it when Levi cheated in by jumping into the game early. So, like I said, as long as he keeps his job, he doesn't care who he works for. It must be because he is so charismatic for the ratings. Now it's time for Odious's right-hand woman, Ladonna. Being a prisoner on Sledge's ship, where the hell was she during Dino Charge? She's just as loyal as Ripcon was to Galvan Axe. And when we saw her combat against the Rangers in tech support, I wish they would have had more of her shown in combat throughout the whole series, because she was able to hold her ground, and she's stealthful enough to take the Super Ninja Steel off of Sledge. The only other character we know about her is that she's a massive fangirl for Brax, and we might as well talk about Brax. Next up is Brax, and I felt he was actually the strongest warrior throughout the whole series. The Rangers kept losing against him every time. I even did find it clever that he actually played weak at first to show that, well, to lower the Rangers' guard, then to showing that he's a super powerhouse wailing on all of them. And the only way the Rangers beat him was switching their Zords around. I wish they would have had more about his character instead of just, I am a super powerhouse. I mean, he didn't feel anything when Tynamon died, and when he was dying, his last thoughts was, oh, I should have noticed that Ladonna actually was in love with me. Ugh. Wasted potential. General Tynamon, he came in at the exact same time as Brax, being his trainer and hype man, and he was only doing all this so Odious can grant his wish. And that deep dark secret of him being small, piloting a giant robot of himself, is it weird to state that his giant robot self actually held 2 Power Ranger finishers and still stood, but the moment he became a giant monster, he was destroyed quickly. His only good part of the plan was him taking control of Mick using that machine. And happy to be me, he is shown to be a good strategist on how to cripple the Rangers if he would have kept going with that same idea. But it also leads to questioning, why is Brax listening to him when it's shown that he is stronger than Tynamon? Because Mega Mauler was doing almost the exact same thing. Though I do wish that Brax and Tynamon would have appeared earlier in the season instead of halfway, so they were not going, oh yeah, I forgot those two are still in this series. And lastly, Madame Odious, who, sadly, she did a better job being a villain when she was being the backstabber, because throughout the whole time Galvan Axe was in control, she kidnapped Levi, made a robot using his memories, she was able to cover her butt and said that Ripcon did it, and she would have succeeded in the first season if she didn't scream to Galvan Axe, hey, I'm backstabbing you. Once it got to the super season, she basically just took on the role of Galvan Axe, just doing whatever she wanted to, sending out a group of ninja mercenaries, and if she would have focused more on rebuilding Foxatron, I'm pretty sure she could have beaten the Rangers because she beat the first Zord. And her grand plan, making an army to take over the galaxy. Here's what would have been a better idea. She used to hypnotize people to attack the Rangers to get the stars. The Rangers wouldn't attack civilians. Just like the first season, her defeat was more of her own ego. She sees everyone as pawns, and sadly, she only makes a decent villain when she's in the background. Actually, that could have been a good idea throughout the whole super season. She was setting up everything to the end in the background, while everyone was more focusing on the game show. Power Rangers Ninja Steel was an okay series. Not great, but then again, its competition was 2 Power Ranger series chimered into 1, and basically a rehash of the Sentai. The only series it had to try to beat was Dino Charge, and it failed on that note. And, well, at least it's ending on an okay note. Not bad, okay. But now that Power Rangers is under a new brand of Hasbro, which caught everyone off guard when we found out the next series is based on a past series of Sentai. So we'll go on to the next series with Animal DNA, electronics, and the biggest mystery throughout the series itself, the Morphing Grid, as we move on into Power Rangers Beast Morphers.
Thank you for watching the channel. If you want to watch more, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. If you want to see other videos, click on the left or right annotations to see more. Till then,